So starting the test drive in this Blazer 2LT here. The 2-liter 4-cylinder gets you a lot of pep coming out of corners, coming from a stop. So I really like that about this engine. Of course, it's no V6 in terms of low end torque, but not as much turbo lag as you would expect. And it's probably just my imagination, but the 9-speed just seems a lot, it feels almost like a dual clutch with this setup, as opposed to when there was just a 2.5 naturally aspirated 4-cylinder when the Blazers first came out. So I like how this pairs with this better. But here we go. Now, one thing I love about turbocharged engines is there's really, you don't have to put your foot to the floor to get decent acceleration. I barely have my foot down there. The turbocharger did so much of the work. And that's one of the cool things about turbos for me. Now this is rated at 29 miles per gallon highway, which is pretty good for something like this. But even with these 20-inch wheels, it's windy day out, it's cold, but not really noticing the tires hitting the pavement, and the ride quality is super smooth. I mean, it's no magnet ride or anything, so it's not necessarily absorbing the bumps, but it's just a very good ride coming down the road, and I still feel like I have a more, I guess, a sportier steering feel, if that makes sense. I don't feel like I'm driving a Tahoe. I feel closer to driving maybe a Chevy Malibu or something like that. Now, in terms of what you get for the money here, I mean, 40 grand is, it's still $40,000, but honestly, for something that's, I mean, you have heated seats, you have the wireless CarPlay, Android Auto, not a lot of extras here as opposed to going up in an RS that's loaded. But I like how this one looks very nice on the outside. Again, for the price point, even though you have cloth seats, they're very comfortable. You get power on the driver's side. Again, the heat is nice. It just, the Ford Edges, those kind of 2-row mid-size SUVs, there's a pretty big market for them because people want something where they can fit people in the back if they need to, but they don't want necessarily a Traverse. They certainly don't want a Tahoe. They want something that's close to being as fuel efficient as a similar 4-door car, but you get all of the creature comforts of having the space behind the second row, something that rides up just a tad higher. So again, this is one of those that sells pretty well because it has a lot of people that want it and not necessarily a lot of competition, if that makes sense. Now I want to give a big thanks to Chevrolet Buick GMC of Murfreesboro again for allowing me to review this Blazer today. I'll leave a link below in the description. If you're looking to find the best price on something closer to home, click on that second link down below. It takes a minute to fill out your information. I'll make sure the local dealers are fighting to get you the best price on any new vehicle you might be interested in. But final thoughts on it, it's a decent SUV for the money. It has a turbocharged 4-cylinder. A lot of people prefer the V6, but I prefer the 2-liter for the fuel economy and then just the feeling of boost you get from the Turbo 4. Again, the cloth seats in this one don't really bother me. Still relatively comfortable compared to the leather version you can get. You don't have the cooled seat option, but not really a big deal for me. And again, it's just one of those things where I feel like $40,000 is the new 30,000 mark just because of inflation. So if you're looking for something that's on the relatively inexpensive side for the car market, honestly, this is a good way to go. It doesn't feel as cheap as it actually is compared to everything else. But again, that's just my opinion. With all that being said, this will bring me to the end of my review of this 2025 Chevy Blazer 2LT with cloth.